We're live. Hi, everybody. It's exactly 12 o'clock. Thank you for joining us on my very first episode. So before we even go on, so this is Renee, and she has been so brave, and she's my very, very first guest on my talk. And so she's here to talk about gastric bypass surgery, which is so it's something that people do, but we don't often talk about. So I'd just like to ask you though, very quickly, how do you feel about this whole event now that it's happened?
Oh, it has been life-changing. Honestly, has been life-changing. And, I wish I actually did it earlier
Wow,
on. Yeah.
how interesting. So if you would like to know more, please keep watching. And if you're watching us live on Facebook, just say hi, and then we'll get to you if they have any questions at the end of our interview. So in this video, Renee will be telling us her experiences when she decided to get gastric bypass surgery. It is a huge surgery, and a lot of decisions need to be made as to whether financially, emotionally is a big thing. So in this video, we will be dividing it into several parts. We'll start with why she decided to do it and when it actually happened and what was all the different push and pull behind this whole decision-making process. And finally, we would share with you what are the actual pros and cons. I mean, the doctors will give you a reason. Some people will give you a reason. But because I know Renee as a friend, and I know that she would tell you anything. So if you have any questions, please put it in the comments and we'll get to you. So we will start with the big question, why?
Oh, look, I decided this for me because I loved who I was as a person, but I didn't like the way that I was looking. And after years of being heavily overweight, I felt that this was my option. This was what I was needing, and made the decision, and then went and done the steps that I needed to do in order to achieve the results that I wanted. And I feel like back then it was perfect for me. It was definitely perfect for me. But the lead up to that decision and actually going through with it was like one hell of a incredible experience, and very trying as well. But glad, as I said before, so glad that I did make that decision.
So before we allow you to go further, so tell us that when you say, I mean, I'm sorry, this is going to be really, I know you will go there because that's why you're here today, to share everything that people won't talk about. And what started this conversation between Renee and I was that we were just talking, just catching up, and then she brought this up. And I said to her, I've never heard anyone admit that, oh yeah, I got bypass surgery and it was awesome. That was so brave. And it was like, wow, okay. So, and when I asked her, are you happy to come and talk about it? She's like, yeah, I want to share what's there to be ashamed of, because it's not. So may I ask, when you say that you were like really overweight, what is the number, if you don't mind?
So the heaviest I got up to was 143, maybe 44 kilos I was.
Yeah.
And my height, I don't know what it is in feet, but I'm like 171 centimeters high. So I am tall, but looking back on my photos, I was massive. Like I was just tight and like a balloon.
Yeah, to be fair, that's taller. You are tall.
Yeah.
So, but was that post baby, or you've always been on the heaviest side?
No. So growing up, I was always a bigger, not really big, but I always was like a bigger girl sort of thing. I was solid. But I always, like, clothing wise, weight wise, I was always heavy. But clothing wise, I was always between that, I'd fluctuate between the 14 to sometimes size 18 clothes. It just depended, on what was happening at the time, I guess.
Yeah.
When I hit sort of my early 20s, I like to refer to the clothing size, because the weight just kind of, because of my size, it means nothing in that regard.
I
So
understand.
clothing wise, when I was, early 20s, I was sort of, between the size 12 top to 14, sometimes 16 bottom, depending on obviously the make. And then, had my son, and I managed to go back to that pregnancy weight, but then slowly started putting on weight. And it would have been from, when my son was, about a year old. From there onwards, I just progressively put on the weight and got heavier and heavier and heavier as the years went on.
Yep.
I did go through periods where I drop, 15, sometimes 20 kilos.
Wow.
But I wouldn't keep it off. I would slowly, progressively go back on again.
Yeah.
And I'd sort of keep going back and forth for this, I guess, yo-yo dieting, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
And then, it wouldn't have been until I was sort of early 30s that I thought, you know what, I think I need extra help with this. So I went and seen my doctor about it, and they referred me to dietitian, counselors, and I went and did all that, and I found that I was still struggling. And so then I made in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe I need to look at weight loss surgery. And then it was from that point forward, I guess I'd made that internal decision of, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Well, where did you hear that from? Like, the gastric bypass surgery, where did you hear it from?
It's funny when you think of these things, suddenly you have everyone that's done it or knows about it comes into your space. So that's what happened. It would have been actually a couple of years later, because I knew about, I think they call it the band and the sleeve. I knew about that.
Yeah.
Never really looked into it until it would have been, I think it was 2018, I think it was. I actually looked into it properly. And the reason why I did was because I knew a lady who was a friend of mine. She had it done. And I thought, okay, right, I'll ask her for advice and, where to go surgeon-wise.
Yeah.
And then that's what led me on the road to actually research properly, to find out what would be the better solution for me. And it turned out that for my eating habits, it turned out that the gastric bypass was the best option for myself.
All right.
So that's when I researched, who was going to be a great surgeon.
Right.
And just went on from there.
When you say eating habits, do you mean that you're a grazer?
Yeah. So I never ate huge amounts, except I wouldn't eat enough. That was my problem. Like I would go all day without eating, and then come afternoon, I'd have like a massive meal for dinner. And like because I wasn't eating enough, they believed that wasn't helping my metabolism. And I was a big sugar, like I'd eat a lot of sugar.
Wow.
I could easily knock over a block of chocolate.
Like the family size ones?
Oh, like just the rectangle size ones, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
Easily. So that's the reason why I went. I was more a sweet, sugary eater more than the big meal eater, if that makes sense.
Yes,
so
yes.
The bypass was better for people that were big, like sweet eaters, more so than the meal sizes. So because if you have too much sweets once you've had it, you they call it dumping, and it's not the best experience. And once you do it, because you will test yourself, you'll go, I'll just try, I'll see how I go with it. No.
Okay, we'll keep that. I'm gonna write that down. We'll keep that to the end to talk about. That could be one of the pros of wow, how fascinating. No, I didn't know there was such a criteria involved. So so what happened was you have been trying to lose the weight.
Mm-hmm.
So you've gone on various different diets. I thought I was a diet queen. I've tried almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't work out, and you decided, I'm going to look this up and see if this is the thing
Yeah.
for me. At
Yeah.
what point did you decide, you know what, this is it, I have to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually made the decision before I went and done it. I actually made it before. And I don't know if you want me to go in, because this might go into a few other questions you may have. So
No, go.
I made the decision. It was mid sort of 2018. I booked the appointment, spoke to the surgeon, booked the appointment, had my surgery date booked in, and was ready to go. But then I listened to outside. I had a lot of outside influences, and I listened to them and
Wow.
took on their advice. And a lot of them were saying, no, don't do it. You can do it yourself. So I cancelled it. Worst decision I could ever make for myself, because I had broken the promise that I had made to myself about getting it done. And that was the worst thing I ever could have done for myself, because then I found I put on more weight, and I just went into, I guess you could say it was like a little bit of, I suppose, a little bit of depression, I guess, because I was disappointed, because I had said no to something that I really, really wanted to do. So anyway, I went through the journey again, and it wasn't until I actually went and done my master's at NLP that I made the decision. Then I'm like, no, I'm doing this for me.
Yep.
I don't care what Joe Blow says, or Bobby says. I'm doing this for me. I'm booking it in as soon as I get home. So as soon as I got home after I did it, booked it in, and then it would have been 7 weeks later, I went in for surgery and had it done. And the people that were against it to start with, they all come around in the end, and they went, actually, no, we agree, it was the best thing you ever could have done for yourself.
Why did they stop you though?
It was their fear. I believe deep down it was their fear. So the people were actually quite close to me, my husband being one, and it was his fear of something going wrong and him losing me. That was his biggest fear. And the other people that were close to me, I guess it probably would have been very similar for them as well.
Did they know that childbirth is dangerous as well?
Yeah,
and yet
exactly.
Everyone does it. So
exactly. So so I believe, like, it was just, they weren't actually thinking about my best interest. It was their best interest.
Wow. Okay.
They were thinking about.
Yes. Yeah.
That's deep down, that's what it would have been. So
how hard it must have been though for you to finally decide that? I know that process because I've walked that process where you need to decide for yourself, and when the world is not there to support you, the people whom you think will support you say no, but you know best. That's hard.
Yeah,
that was so hard. So
definitely.
what was his reasoning though? Did he actually tell you that I'm scared for your life?
Yeah, he thought that something would go wrong. He'd done, Dr. Google searching, and was reading all the, the negative things
Horror
that
stories.
can happen. Yes, and he was fearful that, something would happen to me, and that's his worst nightmare. Something happening to me. So,
but he'd rather you stay in your unhealthy and unhappy state versus taking a chance.
Yeah, and see, and the way that he would have been thinking is, he wouldn't have thought of that about, me being unhappy, and ultimately, if I stayed that size, like, my lifespan would have been shortened heaps. But yeah, he wasn't thinking that. He was thinking, future pacing and thinking the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. And people are not comfortable with change as well. And that's one thing, when I'm sure when your friends will say, oh, don't do it, you can do it yourself, they meant well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they're trying to, encourage you to say that you can do this yourself. You don't need, external help. And this seems to be to them, it will be a very extreme path to take.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And I think too, it's a lot of the stigma behind, some people think that it's the easy option as well. And like, I know you can do it yourself. You're strong, you can do this. Don't take the easy option. But really,
wow, that's low.
It's actually not. And I really get so annoyed with people that do believe that it is, because it's not. Until you've walked in those shoes, and been down the same journey that, you know, people that have done what I've done as well, you have no right to say it's the easy option, you know, or give your opinion on, you know, what that person should do.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
So do you share this, you know, piece of information very openly with me? I mean, we barely met, you know, you're like, you know, it's no big deal, it's just a process, you know, I
Yeah.
chose this decision. For me, it was the best thing I've ever done. Have you met anyone who wouldn't share if they've done it?
There's some people that are, it's very not even, actually, it's probably, there's less people that will openly say that they've had it done. There's more that won't, that will say it if they hear that you've had it done, then they'll say, yeah, I know I've had it done.
Well, they're like, actually me too.
Yeah, but they won't openly say it because of that, I guess, that fear and the stigma behind it of, you know, oh, if I do share I've had that done, people are going to think that I took the easy road, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because of, yeah, the, what others are, I guess, yeah, the stigma behind it or what others have said about it.
Exactly. And that's not fair, though. That's not fair
No.
to someone who's trying to better her life. And it's a life decision that we make for ourselves. Why would,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I feel so strongly about people just staying in their lane because it's our life. Why can't we, you know? So, what would you say
Exactly.
if someone said that to you? Oh my God, I can't believe you took the easy way out. What would you say to them?
I would say to them, well, what makes you think it's the easy way? And I'd ask them to explain to me what their thoughts are on it being easy. And then I would question them on that, on the answers that they're giving me.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, everyone will create their own opinions, and their opinions are their opinions, but don't force them upon others, or help others, you know, make a decision based on your opinion.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, it frustrates the heck out of me.
Yeah, isn't it? So if you would, if you don't mind, would you like to share the process, how it happened, like when you went in, how you felt? Like, did you change your mind when you're there?
No. So
Wow.
I'd already decided which surgeon I was going with. I'd done my research and checked him out, and he was all great. So I booked in with him, did the 6-week, well, 3 weeks before you have surgery, you have to do the pre-surgery diet. So I did
Oh,
that. Yeah,
I
you've got to
didn't know
do like
that.
a liquid diet.
What for?
It's to reduce the size of your liver so that they've got room when they go in, because it's keyhole surgery when they go in to do what they need to do surgery wise, because some people have fatty liver that are
I'm sure I
overweight.
do.
So this liquid diet is to like reduce the
Wow.
size. Yeah. So you had to do that. I did mine for about 2 weeks, I think it was. And then, but I was so excited the whole way through, because I was like, yes, I'm finally doing something that I had made a promise to myself that I was going to do. And I'm actually going through with it.
Wow.
And yeah, on the day I was excited. I was nervous,
Yeah.
but more nervous of like the needles, because I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of needles.
No, me neither.
And the butterfly thing that they put in your, yeah.
And they don't, did they
Anyway,
give you like some numbing cream and before they put it on?
well, luckily the I can never pronounce his word properly. Anesthesia.
Anesthesiologist, yeah.
That's it. He knocked me out before he put it in because of the fact
Oh,
that I
that was
didn't.
very
Yeah, I
thoughtful.
wasn't a fan of it. So yeah, I was excited but nervous on the day. And then yeah, went in, had it done, woke up. The recovery that day, look, I wasn't in pain. I was just so sleepy. Like I slept the rest of the afternoon when I came out. And then the next day I was up and about, not, you know, jumping around and stuff, but just slowly walking.
Yeah.
You know, I was only in for 2 days, and then I went home. So there was no pain, only a little bit of discomfort.
Yeah.
And the other discomfort I had was from the gas, because they sort of blow you up, I suppose, to get in there, create room. And then, yeah, when you're finished, your body's sort of removing the gas, I guess.
To deflate you, your
Yeah,
body deflates you. Wow.
so you get like aches and pains. So I did get that. But yeah, that wasn't too bad. because I'm not a huge, I'm a bit of a sook when it comes to like cuts and blood and stuff like that. And you've got like incisions on your belly. There's like 5. It would have been, I think it was 2 weeks later, or it might have been a week later. Anyway, you had to remove the bandages.
Yeah.
And I remember, because they're really stuck on there, I'm pulling them off, and I'm in the shower. Mind you, I had the shower up bloody hot, and I'm pulling them off. And then, seeing the cut a little bit, I started getting a little bit dizzy. So I sat down, and then I fainted in the shower.
Oh no! With the water on.
Yeah, from removing band-aids. Like,
oh my God.
It wasn't because it was painful, it's because I was sook. But that was probably the only negative experience I had, was that. But yeah, like the recovery was fine. It was like not slow, not fast either. It was like the normal speed that it takes to recover. And yeah, I honestly haven't had any complications. It's been honestly smooth sailing from the get-go.
Wow. I think for you, for people watching, I want you to know this though. Renee's experience is very positive because it is empowering for her. So she's taken everything in stride, and because this is what she wanted so badly, and she knew that this was what she needed to do. That's why it turned out so well. So tell us, how has it changed your life?
Oh, so much. It has allowed me to step more into my confident self and to be more active. Like even just simple things of going for a walk. And
was it like drastic, the weight loss? Was it like just really quick?
Yeah. So it was pretty quick. So I think I ended up hitting I ended up losing just over 60 kilos is 60? What I've lost in total. Yeah, in the 12 months. Well, it's been longer than 12 months now, but yeah, in the 12-month period, it was 60 kilos is what I lost.
Wow.
But, like just simple things of like going for a walk. I can now run. I can hike, and I love going out and walking in nature. So I can go out and hike and not feel like I'm dying.
Yeah.
And just the simple things of looking at a plastic chair, and not having to size it up in my head and wondering, am I going to bust that or am I going to be okay? Honestly, I can now sit down on it and not have to worry about breaking it.
Did you honestly had to worry about it in the past?
Yeah, like I always size up the chairs and go, is that going to hold me? All the time. I'd always size it up. Yeah. Now I don't even think about it. I just sit down. But just simple things like that. Or even, being on a show ride and you're wondering, because of the way the seats are, is my bum going to fit in that? Now it's just, you just sit in it because you're going to fit.
Yeah. How amazing is that? How about relationship wise though?
Oh, incredible. Like my husband says he loved me when I was bigger, and he loves me no matter what size I am. But I can tell he likes me like my size.
Yeah.
You can just tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, he always says, I loved you when you're bigger, and I love you now. Like I love you either way. But you can tell.
Absolutely.
You can tell he likes the small one.
He likes Sorry, that would be my bad. Not handling the sound system really well. So the very last part is I would like to talk about the actual pros and cons of bypass surgery. Let's start with, we've already spoken a little bit about the pros. So what are the cons? What's bad about it? Surely there are bad things though. We want to share this, so we need to be, let's talk about dumping. What's dumping?
Okay. So dumping is where so if you eat, for me, like if I eat something that's got too much sugar in it. So say I have I can have like 2 to 3 pieces of like little chocolate. Say I decide I'm going to have 5 and I eat that. So I'll get like pains in my stomach, and then it will go straight to my intestine, and like within 10 minutes I've got to find the nearest toilet, otherwise it's like, yeah.
Oh, you talk about dumping, it's like
Yeah, it's like literally you're dumping, like it's,
but why though? How
your
come?
body can't your stomach and your body can't handle it. And because the way the gastric bypass is, it's like you've got your stomach pouch, and then your intestine is actually connected to it because it bypasses the gallbladder. So you're pretty much going from your stomach straight to your intestine. So yeah, it just can't handle that huge amount of sugar.
Oh,
Is my
wow.
understanding. I mean, I could be completely wrong.
Yes. So that's why when we talk about this whole conversation, we try not to go to the technical medical part of it.
Yeah.
You need to watch another YouTube video for that, the way
Yes.
the medical doctors do this. But this is from a person's personal experience of how it has changed her life and how years of trying to do it herself didn't work.
Yeah.
So besides that, what other things? So it means that if I were to go and do it, because I'm such a pig, does it mean that I cannot eat as much as I like, because I will eat past my comfort level?
Yeah. So you can't. The best thing about this, I find, is I think too, it's because of the mindset I've got behind it as well, because I went and done a lot of, the inner work. And that's another thing. You have to do the mindset before you have this done.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to have it done. You got to speak to, if you haven't done personal development, you go see a counselor, psychologist. Get that sorted first before you go get it done. That's the key as well. Because I
why
believe,
is that necessary? Why do we
if
need
you
to?
don't,
when
this is going to go under the cons, when you don't, like simple things of sitting down and having a meal with your family are not the same. They're not the same anymore. So my husband's love language is food, and he loves to cook. So he will dish up his big meal, a big meal for my son, and then I'll have my little meal. And when I first got it done, it was hard the first couple of weeks, because I'd have my little bit, and then I'd sit there and wait and just watch them eating. And you're just sitting there watching them eating, thinking,
how little is
what
it
am I
that you have to
do?
watch them eat? Though, how small is small?
Probably like that size sort of thing. Like, it's like a little saucepan size.
Yeah.
Saucepan. And then you eat whatever you can eat off there. But I eat as slow as I can, but still, they're still eating by the time I finish. But just sitting there waiting for them to finish their meal, because that's our family time. We sit at the table, we have our meal.
Yes.
So that was a little bit difficult to start with. Now we're used to it, and I'm used to it, but to start with, that was quite difficult. And I know for some people, that would be massive. Going out for dinner, I don't bother going out for dinner anymore, because what's the point? Like, I'll go out, and I'll have a cup of coffee, or we might have a drink. But meals, I'm very hesitant about going out on dinner dates, because I'll have an entree and that's me for the night.
Yeah. I mean,
and I'll just sit there.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
I'll feel full by the time I'm finished with entree, but no, because in my mind, that cannot be enough. So I'll keep eating until I'm so full. I'm like, no, I feel sick.
Yeah.
Does that mean it won't happen? Did it happen to you? Like, you try to push the limit?
No, I haven't tried to push the limit. Like, I know, and it's interesting because I've spoke to a lot of other people that have had weight loss surgery. My nose starts to get a bit runny when I'm getting to that, all right, I'm full, without realizing I'm full, but my nose will start running. And I'm like,
that's
okay, I'm getting close to being full. I've got to stop now. And it was interesting. I've spoke to a few other people, as I said, that have had it done, and they've said that happens to me too. I get a runny nose, and then next minute I'm full. So now they know, all right, I've got a runny nose, I need to stop.
Trust me, I'll eat past that. I suppose the mindset work needs to be done so that you don't overeat. Have you ever heard of stories that I've heard of stories, I don't know if they're urban legends or not, that people undo all the work?
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe that's, and I could be completely wrong, but my belief is it's because they haven't actually done that inner work. Like I honestly believe if I didn't do the inner work before this,
Yeah.
I don't think I would have done as well as what I have.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm.
Knowing that this is a choice you've made, and then you're worthy of that choice, and you will
Yeah.
follow through.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know another person that's had it done and they haven't done any of the inner work, and they haven't openly admitted it, but I
Yeah.
can just tell that they don't see themselves as little as what they really are. They still think
Little,
that
as
they're
in,
big. Yeah, as in little. They still think big.
yeah.
And and just the way that they talk and think of themselves, like you can just tell that they're not quite seeing the beautiful person that they are. Whereas if they had done a bit of, the mindset
Yeah.
in the inner work,
Yeah.
it'd be completely different.
So the doctor doesn't recommend it that you do.
The doctor recommends that you see a psychologist
Yep.
before, and a dietitian, but that's it. Whereas I believe, yes, that's great, but I also believe do your personal development, do get yourself a really good coach to help you with that inner work
Yeah.
before you get it done.
Wow. So there you have it, everyone. If you are thinking of doing gastric bypass surgery, besides getting through to the actual decision making process that yes, I want to do this, it is so important that you get your mindset ready to. I know that I'm not, because I don't take care of new things. So I don't know if I were to be given this, will I take care of it? Because I'm just like that. You buy me a new car, I'll be like, it's all nice and fresh for a while, and then I'm over it. So it is so important though to know that once you have made this move, that you have to take care of it,
Mm. Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why mine has been, well, I believe, so successful, because I had made that internal decision. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
I got to look. This is for me. I got to look after this.
that's it. This is
What I want.
that's the key. So what
Mm.
is something you want the people watching this video to take away with them now today with regards to their health, who they are, and how they can change their lives by making the decision that's important to themselves?
I think the advice I could give you is really go with what you want. So if you've made a promise, whatever that may be, that internal decision, go with that. Don't listen to old Betty down the road, or, Bob giving you advice. As beautiful it is, and as much as they think that they're trying to help you, don't. You go with what is best, what you feel is best for you, and make the decision around that, because that's what you want. That's what's gonna, make you feel good in whatever you're deciding to do.
Yeah. And what would you say to them if there's too much resistance and they don't know how to stand up for themselves? What is the next step they can take?
If there was too much resistance, they don't know what to do.
Yeah, like for you, your own husband said no.
Yeah.
How did you convince him though? That's hard.
Yeah, so it was a process for me. So like I said, the first time I cancelled it and went, all right, no, right, I'll cancel. And yeah, then I started to build up, I guess, a little bit of I don't like using the word, but it was kind of a bit of resentment. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, I did this, I cancelled this, but I didn't really want to cancel it.
Yeah.
But then in the end, I just went, no, I'm doing this for me. And I said to him, I said, you either support me or you don't. But either way, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And that was it. I
Yeah.
drew my line in the sand,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Was there anyone who supported you?
Yeah, so I had heaps of support.
That's
Heaps
good.
of support. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And it was interesting the second time round when I made the decision and actually like fully went through with it. It was interesting. The ones that weren't quite supportive, they
Yeah.
were all supportive, because they realized, okay, this is what she's decided.
Correct.
She knows what's best for her.
Correct.
We know that she would have done her research, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And yeah, they were very, very supportive.
Yeah. I suppose the cancellation on the first time might have helped because it means that, okay, I'm stepping back to think about, is this what I really, really want?
Mm.
So when you went back again, it's like, I'm really sure.
Yeah.
So I think that could be why they changed their minds.
Yeah. No, you could be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this is and so here we are. I hope you've learned something. If you're thinking about doing the surgery, there's the most important part I've gathered in this whole conversation is that I never thought the mindset work was so important. I didn't think that. I thought for me, I worry more about the pain and the recovery. But once, I guess Renee's right. Once you've decided, nothing else matters though, because your eyes on the prize and just want to get it done. You want a new lease in life, and that is what's important. So if you have any questions, I'm sure I can get Renee to answer you later in the chat or in the comments. She will reply to you. So next week we will have Heather. Heather is what she will be sharing with us is why she has chosen to not settle. She is at the age where she's supposed to get married. She's very attractive, but she's decided after many horrible relationships that, you know what, I'm better than this. So I'm not going to settle because people want me to settle. So this is a woman who stood her ground and said, I'll wait for the right guy to come despite social pressures. So we'll be back next week. And thank you, Renee, for sharing your story. This is so, so brave. And I know of people who has had plastic surgery who would deny it and say, no, I did it all by myself. There is no shame in this. And we shouldn't be ashamed of it.
No.
There's no difference. We renovate our houses, we buy clothes. Why? This is just part and parcel of taking care of ourselves. And yes, thank you so, so much for your time. And again, if you have any questions for Renee, just drop it in the chat. All right, bye.
Bye.